Hi students, how are you all? Yes, successfully you have finished the first 20% examination. Very good. So for second 20% exam, we are going to start the first lesson. That is nothing but mechanical model of atom, right? So in this chapter, we are going to discuss about how the structure of atom is studied. That means history of structure of atom first we will learn, and then we will learn about certain properties of atom. Okay, so the first we are going to see history of atom. Okay, first we know that all the things present in the world or things are made up of matter. So all the things made up of matter. Yes. So matter made up of atom. If you take any matter or any things, if you break, you can say that is one matter. What is the definition for matter? Yes, certain things having volume and mass, which occupies mass, volume as well as which having some mass means we can say matter, right? So if you break any matter into small particle, at last we will end with the atom. So what is the meaning of the word atom? In Greek, it is derived from atomio. Atomio means what? Undivisible, non-divisible, right? So further you cannot break. That is the meaning of the word atom. Yes, but later on we know that further we have the subatomic particles also, like electron, proton and neutron. There are some interior particle like meson, protons. Okay, all those things we know that. Yes, so finally we accepted the smallest particle in the matter is called the atom, right? So what is the structure, how the atom is arranged? Okay, see first J.J. Thomson. Who is the first scientist? J.J. Thomson. J.J. Thomson gave one idea about structure of atom. It is an positive charged sphere. So he thought first atom means it is positive charged sphere. Okay. Then the negative charge particles are embedded in that. Okay. So the negative charges are embedded or scattered in the positive charge, right? So J.J. Thomson thought the positive sphere is called atom, in that negative charges are embedded. Okay, he gave one example also. What is that? Watermelon. Like if you see the seeds, they are imitated or they are compared with the negative charge in the atom. The remaining bulk particles are positive sphere. That is nothing but atom is compared with the watermelon. In the watermelon, these negative charges are nothing but seeds of watermelon. Like how the seeds are arranged in the watermelon, like negative charge particles are present inside the positive sphere of an atom. Okay, but it was go as a wrong idea later on. Further, another scientist discovered that atomic structure. Okay, who is the another scientist came? Rutherford. Rutherford. See, what is the idea of Rutherford? He did one experiment with gold foil, right? Small gold foil, thin sheet, okay, small thin sheet only called gold foil. So he passed the stream of electron on gold foil, okay. So because of that, not electron, alpha particle is passed on the gold foil. What happened? from that experiment he could observe many observations regarding the atom. What happened? Many of the particles are passed through the gold foil. Very few slightly deviated in certain angle. Out of 30,000 or sorry 3,000, only one particle returned back with 180 angle. Right? Again we can see if it is gold foil, many of the particles are passed through that. Very few are deflected in certain angle. Only very few is returned back with a 180 angle. Yes, are you able to follow? Yes. See, he taken the small thin sheet of gold. He passed alpha particle. Here you can know the actual information. That is, alpha particle is nothing but alpha. That is helium atom. So initially he is not taken helium. Alpha particle means like 2 atomic number 2 electron mass as well as 2 neutron. That bundle only called alpha particle, right? So after that he could observe many observation from that. What is that? Many first observation, many particles are passed through that. Very few are deflected through some small angles. The last one, very few only return back with the deflected with 180-degree angle, right? So based on this observation, he gave structure of atom. Okay, one model of a atom. What is that? He also told this is sphere. In that, what happens? Small tiny particle in the center of the atom, that is positive charge, right? Remaining spaces are empty. Okay, what is the final statement according to this experiment? The maximum part of the atom is empty, the tiny positive charge present in the center, and also the negative charge electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Okay, so that means center part positive charge is called nucleus. Around that there are electrons are revolving. Then maximum space of the atom is empty. These are the observations or conclusions of Rutherford, right? Then what happened here? Somewhat we can accept the positive charge present in the center, but continuously any object or moving means what will happen? It will lose energy as a radiation. So finally it can not stabilize for a long time. It will collide or it will fall on the nucleus. Then the stability of atom becoming question mark. So atom may be destroyed. But we don't have any evidence long ago from that. We don't have any evidence atoms are destroyed. So he also gave a wrong idea or some different, or we have to make some changes in his idea, right? So continuously moving means what will happen? See, if you think there is electron, it is continuously moving means it will lose energy. Then finally, after losing all its energy, it will fall on the nucleus, right? Okay, but it is not happen in any past. So that is also there is some wrong idea. Yes, to overcome this difficulty, who is the next scientist? In this meantime, right, the same period time, two scientists, what is that? Who are they? Planck and Einstein done some experiment with quantum mechanics. Okay, theory of quantum mechanical. That means we have to give certain value for that atom. Okay, so some energy is present in the atom means it should quantize. Okay, followed by them Niels Bohr, who is the next scientist. Niels Bohr gave another model of atom. What is that another model, right? By using the Planck and Einstein quantum theory, he proposed the new theory or new model of atom, right? Yes, what is his idea, right? See, first point in his atom, the energy of the atoms are or electrons are quantized. energy of electrons quantized, that means which is determined or which is concluded with a certain value, quantized. Then what is the second one? The electrons are, because center part everyone accepted, that is positive charge nucleus. Regarding the electron revolving only, we have the query with the Rutherford model. That's why only based on the electron we have the theory in the Niels Bohr's experiment, right? So electrons having energy that is quantized. Next, electrons are revolving around the nucleus in certain stabilized path. That path of the electron is called orbit. What is the path of the electron is called orbit. In certain path which is revolving, that stationary path is called orbit. Okay, and also anything rotating in the circular path means it should have angular momentum, right? What is the angular momentum? MVR, it should be equal to integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Certain constant value also he gave. Okay, the n value depending upon the position of an electron in the atom. Right. At fourth point, what happened to the fourth point? This is an important point, I will say, because in the Rutherford, what we told, if the electron continuously revolving means it will lose energy. Yes, but here they are telling because of that electron revolving in the same orbit, they are revolving in the same orbit, electron will not lose energy or gain energy. They are maintaining the stabilized energy. They are not losing or gaining energy. So this is important point I will say, because this is a important turning point of the Niels Bohr. Okay. Then they are additionally giving some information in that electron may gain energy for jumping from ground state to excited state. For example, if you say the energy level 1, 2, 3, one electron may be present in the first energy level, it may jump to the second or third energy level. For that it may absorb some energy, right? After that, it is when coming back to its original place, it will emit the energy what it is observed already for jumping to excited state. This new state is called a excited state. That excited state to ground state, when it is coming back, it will give the absorbed energy as a color, or it will radiate as a energy. Okay, so from that we can understand electron does not gain or any lose energy, right? Here we can give the mathematical relation for this excited state. Initial state we have the energy that is E1, then final state we can have E2. So energy change means how do you count energy 2 to energy 1 will come. So E2 minus E1 is equal to, which is emitting the energy as a radiation. Radiation means we need a wavelength as well as a frequency. This is nothing but frequency mu. H nothing but Planck constant, that is nothing but 6.626 10 power minus 31. I hope, right? Yes, 34 joule second. Okay. So by using this formula, we can find the frequency of the radiation. What radiations are? I am getting confusion. Listen, electron is not losing or gaining any electron, but it can absorb to go to the excited state. When it is coming back, it releases that absorbed energy. Yes, how they are releasing as a radiation. Radiation means wavelength frequency, we know that. So the energy change, that return back energy is nothing but H nu. That new value if you find E2 minus E1 divided by H is the formula to find the frequency of that radiation. Yes, but what happened? We have to apply the all these rules or observation only for hydrogen like smaller atom. It can apply for hydrogen, and then H plus, then He plus, or lithium 3 plus. Like similar with hydrogen, those having the structure or those having the arrangement of electron and protons, they are only obeying all these rules and regulations given by Niels Bohr. Okay, yes, like this all Li2 plus, sorry, all these having certain radius, that means from half of the diameter we can call it the radius. So radius of a hydrogen atom, what is that? Radius of nth atom is nothing but 0.529 z squared and n squared. Sorry, here small change, n squared z squared. N is nothing but in which orbit which is rotating, then z nothing but atomic number into A. A is nothing but constant. It is equal to what? The radius of a particular atom. By using this radius, if you want to find the energy of that particular electron, that is nothing but minus 13.6 divided by here z squared. Just you make it reverse, n squared. Okay, in electron volt atom inverse. If you want to change into kilojoule, it becoming 1312.8 z squared divided by n squared kilojoule mole inverse. Right? See, in electron volt minus 13.6 divided by n squared into z squared, but here 1312.8 into z squared divided by n squared kilojoule mole inverse. Right? See, this may ask in 1 marks. Right? Then relation between R and N will learn in 12. Right? Now the limitations of Bohr model also, because Bohr model also we have limitation, because whoever coming new, they will find the new discoveries, because of that Bohr's also having some limitations. What are they? See, he could not explain two important effect. What is that? Zeeman effect and also Stark effect. What is Zeeman effect? The lines, spectral lines, okay, light photon lines, that if you use the magnet to split the spectral lines, that effect is called a Zeeman effect. Magnetic field is used to split the spectral lines. That effect is called the Zeeman effect. If you use the electric field to split the spectral line, that effect is called Stark effect. Okay, right? These two effects clearly not explained by the Bohr atomic model, Niels Bohr atomic model. Okay, so anyway, it is explain only the restricted rotation of a electron. Okay, only particular orbit it will rotate, like they are given the general idea, not in specific. That's why these are the limitations of Bohr's atomic model. Particularly, you must know what is Zeeman effect, Stark effect, which is not explained by Niels Bohr. The next one, see the dual nature. Albert Einstein gave idea about dual nature of photons. He analyzed only about light also called photons. Yes, see the photon having dual nature, like he thought, okay, dual nature in the sense it can act as a particle as well as wave. See, wave particles are entirely different. Okay, particle means which may have mass and then velocity, everything, but wave may not have any mass. But he's telling the light or photon having both particle character and dual character. Followed by him, the de Broglie scientist gave new idea Not only that, light, all the things, particularly atom or electrons, also having dual nature. That is explained by certain mathematical relation. What is that? He has taken two rules. First one is Planck's quantum theory. From that, E is equal to h mu equation is taken, right? By using Planck quantum theory. Next, from the Einstein theory is equal to mc square. Okay, now in the both equation, right hand side, left hand side are equal, so we can equal the first and second equation. H mu is equal to mc square. So mu is equal to what? Sorry, here we want to apply the mu value c by lambda. Okay, then you apply this value in the equation 3. Equation 4 is substituted, then c by lambda. Lambda is nothing but frequency, sorry, wavelength. What's the relation between wavelength and frequency? Frequency is equal to velocity of the light divided by wavelength. Velocity for photon c, okay, mc square. Then for lambda, you rearrange this formula. Then lambda will come here. Then hc divided by mc square. 2 square and c will cancel. Lambda is equal to h by mc. Here the c indicates the velocity of light, but we want to apply for all the things. So velocity term you can change with v. For light means we can apply c, for all means v. H by mv is the final equation. Again, when the mass and velocity is multiplied, it is nothing but moment. So p, momentum value p also we can write. So from this, if you apply the p value, you can find, or mv value, you can find the wavelength. So which one having mass? Particle. Which one will have wavelength? That waves. Okay. So wave as well as mass having some relation, that is proved by this scientist de Broglie. According to this equation, lambda is equal to h by mv. Yes, right. So by using that, we can calculate for all the atoms or all the things, we can find the wavelength. No, only for smaller or micro, 1 minute, microscopic particle. Microscopic means what? Very small particles only we can find the wavelength. Okay, for that also they are given the examples. What is that? We are going to take electron and iron ball. First we are going to find the wavelength for iron ball. Mass of the iron ball they are given for iron ball, right? What is the mass? Is given the book. 6.626 kilogram, right? Then velocity, v value, how much given? 10 meter per second. Okay, what's the formula? Lambda is equal to h by mv. H value 6.626 into 10 power minus 34 kilogram meter square second inverse divided by m value 6.626 kilogram, velocity value 10 meter second inverse. Listen, kilogram, meter square second inverse. Then 6.26, then 10 power minus 34 divided by 10. So when it comes to the numerator, what will happen? Again 10 power minus 1. So finally we will get 10 power 35 meter. See, wavelength 10 power minus 35. Keep in your mind. For electron, what is the velocity? Sorry, v 72.73 meter second inverse. Then mass of electron is nothing but 6. 1 minute. electron moving at meter second, then mass 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 kilogram. Very important, this is constant value only, but we have to remember. So what is the formula? Lambda is equal to h by mv. H value is nothing but 6.626 into 10 power minus 34. 6.626 10 power minus 34 kilogram meter square second inverse divided by m value 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 kilogram into velocity 72.73 meter second inverse. Second inverse meter square kilogram. Meter alone left out. Then 10 powers you can simplify 31, 34. So remaining minus 3 alone. So if you simplify even 3 times 2 times 2.2. Then 1 time means it will come nearly 1 point something 8 something will come. Simply we can take 1 into 10 power 5. 1 minute. How it becoming 10 power 5? Sorry, that is given wrongly 10 power minus 5, because already we have in the numerator 10 power minus 34, 30 only we have in the bottom. Okay, right. Any other numbers are given? Meter second only given. Okay, that is correct only. So for electron we have found the lambda value 10 power minus 5. For electron, lambda value 10 power minus 5 meter. For iron ball, 10 power minus 35 meter. Which one is easy to measure? It is possible to measure 10 power minus 5 or minus 35. Definitely we cannot find 10 power minus 35 because very small. So we cannot find the wavelength of radiation emitted by iron ball. But we can find for electron. So from that we can confirm for small microscopic particles only we can apply this de Broglie wave equation. Thank you.